My dear student, today we will discuss on very important topic of human rights and refugee laws. The topic is the role of UNHCR in protection of refugees. Let us discuss this topic from introduction. A refugee is a person who is outside their home country because they have suffered or fear persecution on account of race, religions, nationality or political opinion, because they are a member of a persecuted social category of persons, or because they are fleeing a war. Dear students, two United Nations agencies, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, in short UNHCR, and United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, in short UNRWA, are responsible for safeguarding the right and well-being of world refugees. The UNRWA was created in 1948 to assist those Palestinians who had been displaced when the State of Israel was established. Friends, almost 3 million Palestinians are registered with UNRWA, which operate in Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Gaza and West Bank. The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, was established by the UN General Assembly on December 14, 1950, and began work in Geneva, Switzerland on January 1, 1951. Initially, it was given a 3-year mandate to help in finding solutions for about 1 million European refugees remaining in the aftermath of Second World War. It was supposed to resolve the refugee problem once and for all. But 65 years later, however, UNHCR is still here, and the plight of the world's uprooted people remains as serious as ever. Over the past 6 decades, UNHCR has become one of the world's most respected humanitarian organizations, helping tens of millions of refugees around the world rebuild their lives. UNHCR has till date protected and assisted more than 50 million people. 2 Nobel Peace Prizes in 1954 and 1981 bear the testament to UNHCR's deep and ongoing commitment to the world's most vulnerable people. At its heart, UNHCR's work revolves around 3 very human goals that all of us can relate to: saving lives, restoring hope to those who have lost everything, and helping people to find their way home again, even if it means building a new life in a new land. The High Commissioner is elected by United Nations General Assembly upon the nomination of the Secretary General, generally for a 5-year term. The High Commissioner reports to the UN General Assembly through the Economic and Social Council, in short ECOSOC. The High Commissioner works under the instruction of UNHCR's Executive Committee, that is EXCOM, which was created by ECOSOC in 1958 following a request from UN General Assembly, and it consists of member states. Its main tasks are to approve the High Commissioner assistance programs, advise the High Commissioner in the exercise of his or her statutory functions, notably international protections, and scrutinize all financial and administrative aspects of the agency. Members of EXCOMs are elected by ECOSOCs. And next, let's discuss on what are the mandate of UNHCR. A humanitarian and non-political organizations, UNHCR is mandated by the United Nations to protect refugees and help them to find their solutions of their flight, as the problem of displacements has grown in complexity over the past half centuries. UNHCR has also grown to meet the challenge. The Refugee Conventions and protocols provide states parties with a legal foundation for refugee protections. For its part, UNHCR has been given a mandate to provide international protections to refugees and seek permanent solutions to their problems through its statute adopted by UN General Assembly in December 1950. The statute set forth the High Commissioner's functions, including his or her authority to protect refugees. Over the years, General Assembly has expanded UNHCR's responsibility to include protecting various groups of people who are not covered by the Refugee Convention and Protocol. Some of these peoples are known as mandate refugees. Others are returnees, stateless persons, and in some situations, internally displaced persons. Next, let us discuss on persons of concern to UNHCR. Persons of concern to UNHCR are all persons whose protection and assistance needs are of interest to UNHCR. They include refugees under the Refugee Convention, persons fleeing conflict or serious disturbance of the public order, that is, refugees under the Organization of African Unity Convention and Cartagena Declaration definitions, and returnees, that is, former refugees, stateless persons, internally displaced persons in some situations. UNHCR's authority to act on their behalf is either based on the 1951 Convention and the Organization of African Unity Convention, the Cartagena Declaration, or on UN General Assembly resolutions. At the end of December 2013, the populations under the concern to UNHCR, refugees 11,003,862, people in refugee-like situations 699,370, asylum seekers 1,171,762, internally displaced peoples protected or assisted by UNHCR. The number is 23,925,555. People under UNHCR's statelessness mandates 3,469,250, and the various other categories, they are not falls under preceding categories. The number is 836,100. Next, dear students, let us discuss on role of UNHCR. At international level, UNHCR promotes international refugee agreements and monitors government compliance with international refugee law. UNHCR staff promote refugee law among the peoples who are involved in refugee protections, including border guard, journalists, NGOs, lawyers, judges, and senior government officials. At the field level, UNHCR staff work to protect refugees through a wide variety of activities, including responding to emergencies, relocating refugee camps away from border area to improve safety, ensuring that refugee women have a say in food distribution and social services, reuniting separated families, providing information to the refugees on conditions in their home country so they can make informed decisions about return, documenting a refugee's need for resettlement to a second country of asylum, visiting detention centers, and giving advice to government on draft refugee laws, policies, and practices. UNHCR seek long-term solution to the plight of refugees by helping refugees repatriate to their home country if conditions are conducive to return, integrate into their countries of asylum, or resettle in the second country of asylum. Case of assistance helping to persons of concern of UNHCR that provide help to meet the physical and material need of the persons of concern. To an UNHCR, it may include food items, medical supplies, clothing, shelters, seats and tools, social services, psychological counseling, and the building or rebuilding of infrastructures such as schools and roads. UNHCR assistance is purely for humanitarian purpose, that is non-political, non-commercial and non-military purposes. In UNHCR practice, assistance, support and complement protections. To respond rapidly to emergencies, UNHCR keeps emergency stockpiles in warehouse in a number of locations around the world. Concerning field offices, that is close to the refugees, UNHCR staff and their implementing partners work alongside refugees in some of the most dangerous, the isolated and remote places on the earth. Increasingly, they are working in areas of armed conflict or in places where there is little or no effective government authority. Nearly 80% of UNHCR 4,000 plus staff members work outside of its headquarters, that is in Geneva. UNHCR staff can be deployed to a major emergency within 72 hours, and standby arrangements with partner agencies are in place for rapid deployment of the staff as well. Next is the capitals. They are close to decision makers. As a part of its responsibility to supervise the application of the Refugee Conventions, UNHCR maintain offices in capital cities of many countries. UNHCR main liaison is generally the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. However, because refugees protection issues cut across many lines of responsibility, UNHCR often work with ministers or offices in charge of interior matter, justice, immigration, human rights, police and the military. UNHCR also serve as a resource to parliamentarians by making submission to parliamentary committees on issues related to refugee law. By monitoring proposed legislation, UNHRC can work with parliamentarians to be sure that legislation eventually adopted conform to international refugee law and standard. UNHCR partnership with states. UNHCR work with government to help share the responsibility of protecting refugees and encourages government to resolve the causes of refugees flow. In some countries, UNHCR assist the government in examining the claim of people seeking asylum. UNHCR participation varies depending on circumstances and the needs in each country. Parliaments and their members are important partners with UNHCR in countries that have not yet acceded to the Refugee Convention or Protocol or to the two conventions on statelessness. UNHCR promote such accessions. Judges play an important role in the refugee protections, particularly where the national protection system is based on legislation and not solely on administrative discretions. UNHCR assists judges by offering professional development, workshops on refugee law and on human rights, conditions in refugees' home countries. In certain instances, UNHCR can offer its view on a particular law, issues, or individual case to assist judges in their deliberations. Next, UNHCR partnership with United Nations agencies and others. UNHCR is one of a network of UN funds, programs, specialized agencies and commissions. UNHCR most frequent partners include World Food Programme, WFP, UN Children Fund, in short UNICEF, World Health Organization, WHO, UN Development Programme, UNDP, UN Office for High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, etc. UNHCR also work with regional bodies such as the Organization for African Unity, the Organization of American States, the Council of Europe, and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, and Asian African Legal Consultative Organizations. The International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, complements UNHCR work by providing humanitarian relief to people affected by emergencies and by promoting international humanitarian law. Next, UNHCR partnership with non-governmental organizations, NGOs. UNHCR work with more than 500 NGOs as implementing partner. Most NGOs working with refugees provide material assistance and or assist in the establishment and maintenance of camps and other settlements, putting them in a position to monitor and report on right violations that may occur in the camps and settlement. Next is finding durable solutions. While UNHCR primary purpose is to safeguard the right and well-being of refugees, the ultimate goal of UNHCR is to help in finding durable solutions that will allow refugees to rebuild their lives in dignity and peace. There are three solutions open to refugees where UNHCR can help. First is voluntary repatriation. UNHCR work with the country of origins and the host countries to help refugees return to their home. Second is the local integrations. Integration of refugees in the host country allows recipients to live in dignity and peace. And third one is resettlement to a third country in situation where it is impossible for a person to go back home or remain in a host country. UNHCR helps achieve one or the other of these durable solutions for the refugees around the world every year. The protection of 33.9 million uprooted or stateless people is a core mandate of UNHCR. From the discussion, we know that the agency does this in 7 ways. It ensures the basic human right of uprooted or stateless people in their countries of asylum or habitual residence, so that refugees will not be returned involuntarily to a country where they could have faced persecutions. Friends, in short, UNHCR mandate is now therefore significantly more extensive than the responsibilities assumed by state parties to the Refugee Convention and the Protocol. Thank you for your patient hearing to my discussion.